If the customer is always right, what should businesses do when those customers tell them they're getting it wrong? Or more specifically, that they aren't delivering on their brand's promises? To discuss how companies can change their operations to do just that, we're joined in the studio by Kathleen Jersinsky, President and COO of consulting firm COPC Inc, and Richard North, CEO of Europe, Middle East and Africa region. I'm Angela Corp. Welcome to the Business Debate. Kathleen, Richard, welcome to the London Stock Exchange studios.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
Now, we hear this phrase customer experience being used across all industries, but why should businesses be focused on it?
Well, customer experience is really what differentiates companies. Good experience actually tends to drive loyal customers. Loyal customers tend to buy more, so it really is driving your revenue. And I think that's really important in today's world where the voice of the customer is very much magnified by social media. And so what you really want to do is have the people who are out there in social media being your advocates, being your people who are selling your product, marketing your product for you.
And what are the costs involved in getting it right?
Well, if you actually are not getting a return on investment from your customer experience, then that's not a good thing. What we try and do is balance cost against the service and cost against delivery. But what you actually find is that companies who focus on customer experience tend to reduce costs, because by doing things correctly, solving a customer's issues in fewer touches, that reduces your cost. So you haven't necessarily got to sacrifice customer experience by focusing on lower cost.
So Kathleen, where are companies getting it wrong?
One of the first things they really have to do is to define what they want their customer experience to look like. Not every customer experience should be a wow experience. We spend a lot of time on product design, not nearly as much time on the design of our customer experience, and we really need to. If you think about your electric company, my electric company does not wow me. Their promise to me is reliability, but they consistently deliver on that through reliable power. It doesn't go out very often, through technicians arriving on time and accurate bill. It's a very simple promise, and they deliver on it day to day. It's that stuff that's not sexy that really delivers on the promises. But as easy as that sounds, customers tell us that over 71% of companies aren't doing that on a consistent basis.
So why is there often this disconnect between a brand promise and the customer experience?
A lot of it has to do with how we as companies are organized. We're organized in silos. And it's very difficult for each of us within those silos to view the entire customer experience and make changes to improve it. If you think about the experience of ordering something online, there are groups that look at how we get you to our website, groups that look at what happened at the website, what happens when you call us if there's a problem, what happens when we fulfill the package. But very few companies actually look across that broader experience and understand things like when customers tell us they really want to be able to change the address on a package after they've hit submit on that order, and they can't. We don't do a good job of capturing that information from customers because it doesn't fall into a particular silo, much less take action on it.
And what's the cost to businesses of potentially losing those customers?
Well, 64% of customers tell us that they have had experiences where companies have had the product they were looking for at the price they were looking for, but they didn't make the purchase because of a poor customer experience. I think all of us can think of times where we've fallen into that 64%, whether it be walking out of a restaurant because you couldn't get waited on, or abandoning a shopping cart because you couldn't make the adjustments to it that you needed to. And over 80% of customers have told us that even if that issue is resolved, that still adversely affected their decision to purchase in the future.
And Richard, how do you go about fixing those problems?
Well, the first thing we have to help the company do is understand what the customers need, what the customers want, because the customer experience is actually how successful they can do to fulfill that. Having done that, what we then do is look at the company through the customer's eyes to try and understand what the customer journey the company is putting the customers through, and then match that against the brand promise. Where is that customer journey meeting the brand promise, and where's the brand promise actually falling short during the customer journey? Identifying the pain points, identifying the areas which there are breakdowns, and then coming up with recommendations for how to fix that.
And Kathleen, what about those companies that are getting it right, or at least think they're getting it right?
Well, if you think about the retail industry in North America, I think Nordstrom is a department store that's doing quite well in aligning their customer experience in their stores, online, and even with their credit card. I think Richard has shared with me that John Lewis here in the UK is very similar to that. What all of the companies that do well in this area have in common is they have consciously designed their customer experience. They have aligned their operations to deliver on that experience, and they've monitored how well they're doing on it by looking across broad customer journeys instead of looking at things in silos.
Kathleen and Richard, thank you very much for joining us today.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
And join us next time on the Business Debate when we'll be looking at artificial intelligence and business disruption. Until then, goodbye.